I just came out here. I don't know why I came out here. I just came out here to look at the 911s and say what's up to you guys and tell you to have a great night, but this isn't the end of the video. The video is about to start. $32,758 a year in income from my investments. So the goal is to get $207,000 more in annual income, or I can lower my expenses. So I got two options. I can lower my expenses, or I can increase my dividend income by investing more. So I've talked about this before in past videos, and I talked about it like later in a video, but I wanted to talk about it more like a little earlier in the video. So if you guys don't know, I just want to explain this to you because it's so powerful, and I actually use it to try to figure out what's the best strategy to get to my financial freedom. So, do you realize that you need 10 times the amount of the debt that you acquired to cover it with passive income? Based on like the SCHD yield, which is what I use because SCHD is the ETF I buy for dividend income. And then I'm probably going to start adding some single stocks actually to try and boost the yield. So it's hard for me to find single stocks that I can add to boost the yield because they need to have a higher dividend yield than SCHD, and they need to have a faster dividend growth rate than SCHD, which is very hard to find because most of those they're already inside of SCHD. So by the way, none of this is financial advice, and if you guys are younger or I don't know what your situation is, you know, the way I invest probably is not the best way for you to invest. So you're better off probably just buying VOO, which is the S&P 500. And if you're not familiar with what that is, you can Google it. That's Vanguard's S&P 500 stock ETF, VOO. Okay, back to what I was talking about. So when I say that you need 10 times the amount of debt that you've acquired to cover it with passive income, so I'm going to use like just an easy explanation so you can understand it, the easy math, because I'm not very good at math. I got really bad grades in high school. So let's say you're like, all right, I'm doing all right in life. I got a good job. I sell insurance. I'm making $110,000 a year. I'm going to go get me an X3. I'm going to go get me a brand new X3. Well, guess what? That X3, yeah, you're paying $3,000. I'm just for easy math. You are paying 996 Carrera. 996 Carrera. Base Carrera. You're paying no gas cap. I forgot. I need to get to financial freedom. We're putting regular in this. Let's just say hypothetically, you put down 5%. The car's 120 grand, and you did 48 months, and you got a 8% loan rate. I don't know. It'd be close to 3 grand probably. So that's $36,000 a year in payments for something that's $120,000. Now, do you know how much money you need invested to have that paid off with passive income to be covered, to cover that expense? So if it was SCHD, which is the yield is 3.6%, $1 million would be $36,000. So it'd be 10 times, almost 10 times the amount of the actual loan or the actual debt item that you bought. Do you see what I'm saying? So rather than going and getting that item, just don't get it. And then you don't need to have $1 million invested to cover it. This is where I'm at in life, where I'm starting to realize, wow, you get rid of all these things that cost money. Luckily, I don't have a lot of debt. I have no car payments. All my expenses are reoccurring because I followed these rules to not have a bunch of debt. But still, you know, the one thing I do have debt, my home. So the reason I'm talking about this is because I was doing the math. Okay, I have a house. It's worth like almost $4 million. The mortgage I owe $1.3 million on it. All right. I told you guys I need $20,000 a month in income to be financially free with my same lifestyle I have now. Check out all those cars. So check it out. I need $6.6 million in SCHD money to get $20,000 a month in income. Well, $8,600 of that $20,000 per month is my home. Now, part of the home payment never goes away. That's your property taxes and your insurance. You can't get rid of those. Those are there forever. You really don't even own the home because property taxes, you're paying that forever. That's why Michael Saylor likes Bitcoin so much, because he was saying that you'll pay for your house multiple times through property taxes over the years. But property taxes and insurance. So out of that $8,000 a month payment that I have, $6,600 of it is mortgage. The rest is property taxes and insurance. So let's say, how much money would I need invested to cover $14,000? So instead of 20, let's say we get rid of the house, I only need $14,000. Well, I did the math. To cover $14,000 with SCHD money, it's very easy. You just take $14,000 times 12 and then divide that by the yield of SCHD or whatever dividend or whatever rental property income percentage you get. Just take your monthly expenses, multiply it by 12, and then divide it by the return you think you're going to get. Whether that's using the 4% rule with VOO, divide it by 4%. 4% rule, if you're not familiar with what that is, that's a rule where you can withdraw 4% of your portfolio balance every single year and account for inflation, so you can increase it by the rate of inflation every single year, and your portfolio should last 30 years or plus. But that is with an allocation of bonds and stocks, not just stocks. So if you want, you can use the 4% rule. I like SCHD only because I like the fact that I like the growth of the dividend. Over the past 13 years, well 10 years, it's been like about 10 to 11% a year, the dividend growth. Back to the moral of the story. So 14,000 times 12 it's about 160,000 a year. Divided that by 3.6%, which is SCHD's yield, I need $4.6 million. So I need $2 million less if I get rid of the house. Well, how much does it cost to get rid of the house? It costs $1,395,000 because that's the remaining amount of my mortgage. So what's 4.6 plus 1,395,000? It's less than 6.6. I think it's like 600,000. So I would need 600,000 less to get to financial freedom if I used the money to get rid of the mortgage and then continued investing in SCHD. I'm not saying to get rid of the mortgage first. I'm just saying that even though my mortgage is 2.75%, it doesn't seem smart, because you could have that money invested in like just the S&P 500 and the spread it's better. It's smart. It seems like it's smarter to keep the mortgage. It is when you're trying to grow your principal balance. But when if I'm basing my life on our Buckminster Fuller's definition of wealth, like how many days I can move forward without trading my time and survive, then it makes more sense to pay it off, because it would take less for me to reach financial freedom, to have income that covers my expenses. And what I'm saying, I don't even know if this is right. I'm just saying like things I think about and play around with in my mind. So just throwing it out there. But the real moral of the story is, don't go get a bunch of debt, because you're going to need 10 times the amount of the debt that you got invested to cover it with passive income. That's the whole reason I was telling you guys this.
Good morning. What can we get started for you?
Hello, can I have a grande pike place with cream and 3 stevia? That's it.
Grande pike.
So let's stack that cash and not the debt. It's even in the Bible. They say the borrower is slave to the lender. There's a lot of little gems in the Bible. I'm not super religious. I just like I like taking the wisdom. Like I saw another Bible, it's in Luke or something. He says, when you go to build a tower, wouldn't you sit down first and estimate the cost to see if you have enough to complete it? We're building towers. We don't even know if we got the money in the bank. There's another one in there. It says, go to the ant. It says, look at the ant. It has no overseer, no provider, but it works diligently. I'm probably botching these quotes. And it stores up in the summer for winter time, so it's prepared, something like that. But you get what I'm saying. We gotta store up we gotta plant the seeds, baby, so we can reap the harvest. Look, there is no one way that's the right way. Whatever it is you want to do, you want to put all your money in Flocky and Shiba, do it. Whatever keeps you invested, whatever keeps you stacking that cash. All I know is I think differently than most people. I wake up every day with this worry, like a survival mode. You know the way I look at it? I look like, you know, a video game, how you have like a bar with your life that's left, your life. With me, with our business, I feel like the business has like a bar, like a life bar. And I feel like I'm trying to get through the game and collect enough coins in the game before that bar runs out. So when the bar runs out, I've collected enough coins to not have to ever play the game again. If that makes sense. But everybody's out here just thinking that, I don't know, nobody's doing the math, I think. I think nobody's doing the math. They're collecting debt, they're not collecting coins, and they're not doing the math. How are you going to cover it? How are you going to pay for it all? It's not real. You're borrowing. Do you guys see that hawk freaking go by? See, there's levels to all this stuff. Like, you know, there's guys I know, like at the gym, that are real estate guys. I know one guy has 40,000 doors. He looks at me and he's like, oh, he's doing good. He's got his foot in he's got a little savings, you know. And then there's you guys below me that are looking at me like, man, he's doing amazing. He's got this nice house and he's got $1 million in his stock account and a Porsche. But then me personally inside, I feel like I've accumulated all these material things that don't matter at all. And what I really need is I need passive income for safety and security for my family. So don't get it twisted. The cars and stuff are cool, but the whole goal is, for me, security. Wake up with peace of mind. And I'll tell you right now, if you start doing the math, this is a very hard game to play and to get ahead. It is designed for you to not get ahead. The tax system is it's hard to get ahead, even with a successful business. That's why people love real estate. It's why I also like qualified dividends. Because the government's basically telling you, we're going to reward you for, like, businesses get tax breaks and real estate investors get tax breaks. And it's basically the government saying, give us jobs and housing, and we'll give you we'll give you a little kickback. We'll give you a little something for providing housing for us, for the country, and providing jobs. That's why businesses can write off their expenses before they pay their taxes. And that's why real estate owners can write off their expenses before they pay their taxes. And that's why they also can do 1031 exchanges. And that's why they can depreciate their properties. If you guys aren't familiar with 1031 exchange, it's when you sell real estate. If you go from one property to another, but it's more expensive, you don't pay taxes on the gains of the sale. They continue on and on and on to the next property. And the way to really play that real estate game is you never take the profits. The way you take money is you refinance and pull the money out through debt. So it's actually a write-off. That's a whole nother video. Now, when I say those things, I'm thinking, should I get back in real estate stuff? We're not dialed in. We got to get back in the real estate. See, that's the thing. Real estate, I could probably get to my financial freedom number with probably like 3.5 to 4 million, no leverage. But it's like, one guy left a comment explaining he was going through a sale of a building. He made a bunch of money, but like he said, it's no unicorn. It's no perfect thing. There's always those nothing's perfect. Whether it's dividends paying you, a rental property, nothing's guaranteed or perfect. That's why you need to have margin to account for error. That's why that's what I'm saying. If you focus and do the numbers and run the math, you need to get way more than you think you need just to get to where you need to be, especially after taxes. So any of you guys that are real young and you're like, I want to get into real estate investing, or I want to get this rental. Like, I had a friend actually call me and he was like, man, he's like, I was thinking, I'm having a hard time at my part-time job, and I'm thinking, not part-time, full-time job. A friend actually called me and said, I'm thinking about taking the money I have. He had like $35,000, and I'm putting it down on a property and renting it out. And I'm thinking that would give me a little bit of breathing room. But what he was doing was he was doing happy math, if whatever you want to call it, where he made the numbers work in his mind. But he didn't include like a vacancy rate or the actual cost of the debt, things like that. I said to him, I said, you're probably not going to make yourself happier. You're probably going to actually cause more problems for yourself in the short term. I mean, I'm not saying that it wouldn't have been a good idea. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. But when you guys are like sitting down and you're like, I'm going to get this property and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, make sure you leave some type of margin for error, for vacancy, for repairs, CapEx, capital expenditures. Save for the roof. Make sure you look at the AC units, water heaters. Because if you're strapped, Aston Martin, if you're strapped with cash and you're like, I'm making this work, I'm bootstrapping it, but then you have nothing in the bank, you're setting yourself up for failure. I'm all over the place today. Because you know what it is? I snapped out of La La Land mode and I got back into survival mode where I'm like, all right, and growth mode. Like, we need to get dialed in, dude. We only got a certain amount of days to get to financial freedom. Before you know it, it's going to be too late. The world's changing. I don't know what industry you're in, but you better start stacking that cash, baby. Because if not, ChatGPT's coming for our jobs. I'm probably messing up a bunch of marriages right now. The husbands are coming home. We need to cut the expenses. No more Trader Joe's. We're going... Like, what has gotten into you? I kind of like, though, when you make chasing the financial freedom and passive income your goal. It's fun, honestly. I don't even care. I'll cut the expenses. And if your goal becomes a hobby, it's really fun, actually. Might be boring to some, but it's the ultimate goal for me, because it's time freedom. And it's not even about the money. That's what don't get it twisted. It's not about the money. For me, it's about the time freedom. You work extremely hard. You work smart. You stash it all away. And then you literally give yourself tons of free time. Or I guess you could have the time in moderation now. Like, you could just work not as hard and have free time now in moderation. But I guess for me, I don't want to rely on the government when I'm older to fully take care of me and my family. I want to be able to provide for my kids. Like, when my kids get a little older and they get married, or like they go, I want to be able to be like, oh dude, here's a down payment for a house. Don't be stressed. Got you. I don't want to be like, man, we're strapped. I can't do any of this stuff. You're on your own. But either way is good. There's no right way, because when they do it on their own, they learn a lot. And it builds character. I'm going back to pick up another child and take them to school. I just dropped one off, but I gotta swing in this Porsche dealership real quick and just see what's in there. That GT3 is not selling. I wonder why. 2014. It's nice. What is that in there? Cabriolet 997. 997 Carrera. We saw that yesterday. I see. Oh, they got the Speedster in there still. They're not going to spot me today because I'm in the Volvo. GT3 RS. Targa. Well, alright guys, I guess I'll hop off. Usually I'll edit these videos and I'll cut out a bunch of dumb stuff I say. But you know what? I don't got the time today, so I'm just posting this one straight. So if I say something dumb or I sound real repetitive, again, I'm just thinking out loud. I appreciate you guys watching. I will see you on the next video. Let's go.
This is light work.